Alright, hey guys, welcome to our resumption of War Recaps. It used to be called Hero and Goat. We're now going to call it Three Studs and a Dud. And the way we're going to do is actually have 4 videos that we are able to watch. In this case, you're watching the one that's kind of grayed out below. The other 3 you can get to by clicking on the play button now, or at the end of the video, I'll give you this stuff again. That said, let's take a look at Michael Max 3-star on a Town Hall 8 Max using 105 Dragoon. Alright, so here's a stud attack from our War Recap. It's a Ever had those bases where your clansmen throw their bodies against it and they just losses stack up? You can't seem to figure it out. Such was the case with Chief Jason here. This base held out for 8 attacks before Michael showed up and 3-starred it with a 105. And that's what actually makes this attack interesting, where we gave him the stud title, because it's actually, from the way we do decision trees of how to do attacks, it looks like a ground base because of the fact of these max ADs, right? So we don't want to go into the teeth of the tiger if we don't have to. But when you've done 8 attacks, and at least there are some rogues within that group that weren't doing the best attacks, but there were some good attacks in that group. And if those aren't working, then you got to reassess the opposite, which in this case would be the air. And then when you do that, you'll actually see it's like, you know what? This is actually an above average good 105 base because of the fact that the distance between the broadside is so tight. Look at this thing. So from here to here, we're measuring broadsides now on center to center. It used to be from side to side. It used to be from like here to here. We'd measure that area, and we'd say that if you had 5, that was great. But it doesn't help with angle because angles don't have that 2 nice lines. So center to center, though, if you do the math and figure it out, it's actually 4 and 5. One's 5 and one's 4 in terms of center center. So it's the hypotenuse is 5. So it's even shorter than this bad boy. That is really tight translation. So you can if you can just get your dragon somewhere in the area, right in here, they're going to get this down. Most likely. You're not going to have an issue with the dragons being able to take that out. And then you just got to have a plan for the backside. So that's what made this an interesting attack, is because it's almost like you need to maybe think about, like, if it's really like wonky bad, like easy, you maybe need to, even with an 8666, come in at it. Who knows? Let's take a look at the attack though, and you can kind of see how he approached it. I think he comes from 9 o'clock. Yep, there's his cuts. They're pretty wide cuts. We'll amp it up to 2 here. 2 times speed, but his cuts are pretty wide. I think he's trying to make sure it funnels in. He ends up losing a dragon over here, but really he's not getting pounded too much, so maybe that's why he did it. Because, 1 dragon versus an 80 is not too bad. But he comes out, takes out, look at this nice funneling. It's all where he wants it to be going, right? It looks all good. Now his loons didn't actually go. I think that wasn't exactly what he was hoping for. He was probably hoping for something more up the middle. But it works out because it ends up pathing to the backside as well. And that actually works. If we would have analyzed the base, he had this whole wall of non-defensible stuff. And maybe that's why he dropped the dragon up here. Now I think about it. That dragon took this out, took out that archer tower, which then allowed this pathing to happen. And that was critical, because then once that AD goes down and these 2 are down, it's basically like, woohoo! Right? So it's a great base, but it's something to think about in terms of the deciding on base structure. I still think that the 8666 rule, how many 6s there are, 3 6s, max ADs is a viable one. You need to think about that. But if you see something really good, maybe you got to take it. And so ends one of the 4 attacks in this Wars recap. If you liked what you saw, as I mentioned before, you can click on the other ones. Just click on those play buttons that aren't grayed out. The 3 that aren't grayed out are the ones you aren't watching yet. Or if you got time in your hands, want to give some love back, post out in the forums or on YouTube. Share it with your friends, whatever. Worst case, good luck in your clan wars, and I'll talk to you soon.